part of a revolution that has stirred the entire nation, has stirred the people of the continent of Africa. All over Africa, they were asking me, what about the civil rights revolution? How do people find such courage? How do people who've been beaten down and cowed suddenly stand up on their two hind legs and say, I want my freedom, and I want my freedom now? Not even the Klan, nor the governor, nor the mayor, nothing will keep us from our constitutional rights today. We're going to get it. Chairman, Reverend clergy, representatives of the leading organizations in Bogalusa, and fellow freedom fighters. Tonight I'm thinking of a number of names. I'm thinking of the name of Jimmy Lee Jackson, Reverend James Reeb, Mrs. Liuzzo, Medgar Evers, James Chaney, Andy Goodman, Mickey Schwerner, 4 little children in a church in Birmingham. And I'll ask you to bow your heads in a moment of silent meditation in their memory. Thank you. You, my friends of Bogalusa, have inspired me tonight and throughout this day that I've been here. I have seen other movements in our civil rights revolution, voting. I saw Selma, I saw Birmingham, I saw Plaquemine, I saw Jackson, Mississippi, Savannah, Georgia. No place in the country, not even Selma or Birmingham, have I found a greater spirit and determination than I see here in your faces in Bogalusa. You have joined a great revolution. You are helping to write history. You will be writing history tomorrow with your marching feet. And I'm here to tell you that tomorrow when you march, I will be marching with you. You've stirred them. Oh, there probably are a few among you, or a few who are not here tonight, who haven't joined this movement yet. I urge them to get on board this wagon. Get on board and get on board fast. You know, your children, your grandchildren, my children and grandchildren are going to be reading about the Civil Rights Revolution in their history books. They're going to be reading about the years of the 60s. They'll be reading about 1965. They'll be reading about Jonesboro, Bogalusa. They'll be reading about Selma. And what are they going to say as they study their history books? They'll say, Mama, Papa, Grandma, Grandpa, where were you then? Where were you during that revolution? Were you sitting it out? Were you scared? Or were you with the people who were marching and fighting for freedom? I hope I'll be able to answer honestly that I was there. You know, there are always some people who want to drag their feet. They say, no, I don't want to be in on this movement. No, it'll get me in trouble. I have several things to say to them. If you were born black, you were born in trouble in this movement. They have been beating us and killing us for 350 years for nothing. If we must die now, then let us die for our freedom. Now those who would drag their feet, cut out the separate, segregated facilities in their plant and stop the dual promotion system. You know, the two lines of promotion with you. They will be prepared to send it. If you stop leaving. No intention at all. Ronnie Moore and I have been through the mill in Louisiana. He mentioned my almost losing my life in Plaquemine. Ronnie was right there with me that night. Right there with me when our adversaries, the people who were riding through the streets screaming for my blood, were, horror of all horrors, law enforcement officers, state troopers, and others who had been deputized. Nameplates and badge numbers taped over, screaming, come on out, farmer, we know you're in there. Two girls who were hiding under a church that had been tear gassed heard one of them say to the others, when we catch that blinky blank, pardon the word, nigger, farmer, we are going to lynch it. These are state troopers, Plaquemine, Louisiana. Ronnie was right there with me. We finally got out of Plaquemine in a hearse. We used two hearses. One is a decoy, which pulled troopers away from roadblocks that they had set up. We couldn't get any phone calls out of that town that night. Operator wasn't putting through any calls from the Negro section of town. Got to New Orleans and held a press conference, described what had happened, then announced that I was returning to Plaquemine the next morning, be there at 10 o'clock at the courthouse. If they had a warrant to serve on me, I'd be there to be served with it. Got back. FBI was all over the town this time. They had no warrant to serve on me in spite of that feverish manhunt. No, my friends, that doesn't stop us at all. It doesn't stop us one bit. We're willing to die if death is necessary. If our parents had been willing to go to jail and to risk death, their children wouldn't have to do it today. I remember those 4 kids in South Carolina who sat in a lunch counter, went to jail for 30 days. You know, they wanted to get him out of there after 20 days on good behavior. But these freshman students refused to leave jail. They said, no, you gave us 30 days, we want our full 30 days. They said, you have got to feed us and house us for 30 full days. Well, this sent the city fathers back to their law books to find out if a person could refuse to come out of jail on good behavior. They didn't want him in jail because they didn't like the songs they sang. Oh, you know, they didn't sing, swing low, sweet chariot. What they sang was, before I'd be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. The kids refused to come out on bail. We had bail money ready. Said, you want bail? They said, no, we want the state to feed us for 30 days. When they finally came out, I had them to my house for dinner. These 4 kids sat there, my little girl, Tammy, who was 2 then, sitting there at the dinner table. I said, now, Tammy, when you grow up, are you going to believe in things as deeply as these young men? So deeply that you'll be willing to die for the things you believe in, or go to jail and spend time there? I want you to know, my friends, that we are not only fighting for Negroes. We welcome in our midst persons of any race and any color who believe in brotherhood and equality. If they are willing to stand up and be counted and to walk shoulder to shoulder and side by side with us, then they too are our brothers and sisters. For all of its citizens, white or black, and all of them are free. Because that's our goal, as Langston Hughes put it.